Alright, welcome back to the Fusion360 CAD class. This video is the second video in the 14-part series, where we'll be looking at the file hierarchy and how we work as a company or an association to put all of our work together. I believe this video will be very useful even for people not part of our association, because you will get to see how a professional company does mechanical engineering, and you will be able to apply these same fundamental tips to your own work to work in a scalable manner and not to create files that are dependent of each other with circular dependencies that end up breaking after a week of work. So we will start by hopping into Fusion. This menu is your own personal Fusion360 repo. So by repo, I mean all the files that are at your name, under your name. If you have joined the association repo, you should be able to change right here the team that you're working on from your own team to, in our case, Explore. So as I'm saying, if you click on the Home button, you will be able to see the projects that we have been working on for these past 2-3 years. If you click on 2022, you will be able to see last year's project, which you cannot modify anymore, but you can now see what's in it. In this project's archives, you have the 2021 project, which is called Argos. Here is the rover. I won't open it because it's very heavy, but you have the access to the whole rover. But in our case, we will be focusing on 2023 because it's this year. Okay. So as soon as Fusion is done, there we go, we can launch it. So you can see the current state of the project. The repo is split into multiple subsystems: structure, handling device, science, avionics, and an assemblies. The assemblies is very important. We'll be going extensively through assemblies in video number 6 and 7. You need components to then make assemblies. These two videos are probably some of the most important videos that we will be seeing. Assemblies is the way that you bring multiple different engineers' work into one main project. Basically, there will be two levels of assemblies. Each subsystem, like the handling device who is creating a robotic arm, will have a intra-subsystem assembly folder, which is where they'll be inserting the first joint, then the second joint, then the third joint, and they'll be assembling them together. And then the mechanics system engineer will do the main assembly, and so they will take this, which is, you can see it here, it's the robotic arm from last year. He will take this robotic arm, and then he will go to structure, and he will take the structure from last year, and he will assemble all these sub-assemblies into a main assembly right here, called the multiple subsystem assembly. But be careful, this is not all. There is one more layer of assemblies. If we go back to last year's project, and we go to the handling device, and let's say, for example, the gripper. A member worked on the gripper for the whole year. He made 7 grippers. Each one is named gripper 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 7. That's his iterations. Let's open gripper 4. You can see that inside of gripper 4, there is the assembly. The first thing you see is the assembly. And then he made a parts folder in which he stored all of the parts for the gripper. This makes it super clear to know where is the assembly, and when other people need his work, they don't care about which part he did how. They care about how it comes together, and his team leader will take his work and assemble the gripper at the end of the whole arm, which will go to the arm assembly as we saw here. Then the system engineer will take this and put it into the main assembly after taking the arm, the structure, the science. To illustrate this, I made a schematic. The system engineer will assemble the complete rover using each single subsystem. The team leader will assemble all of the work created by his team members. The team members will design and assemble their job after having created a sub-parts or a parts folder and the main assembly, so that when anybody goes to their folder with their job, their work, the joint, the service module, the wheel, the first thing they see is their assembly, and then they can go dig into the parts folder. This system maximizes the efficiency of the association. For example, the structure this year has 4 wheels. The team member only has to design 1 wheel, and the team leader can assemble the wheel 4 times. They can take the wheel assembly and insert it 4 times into the structure. Once the team member modifies a subpart, this will then modify the subassembly, and then the team leader can update the structure. And the change made in the subpart will change the wheel and will change 4 times the same wheel in the structure, and then the system engineer can update the rover and will show up on the rover. This is the way to work in a company. We'll be going thoroughly through this system in video 6 and 7. But for now, you need to understand the file hierarchy and where we save what. So let's leave this left pane alone for a while, and let's go look at the right pane here. I will create a new design, and you can see, so I think I've got a GUI glitch, now it's fixed. You can see that just like in Google Chrome, you have tabs. The first tab is called Untitled, it's the first design. The second tab is also called Untitled 1, second design. You need to know that when you save a tab like a design from a tab, it will save at the location given by the current state of the left window. So if I'm right here in the main project and I save my Untitled design and I call it test right here, you can see right there that it just saved down here, which means that every single member will see this file when they log in to Fusion, and it's going to be absolute chaos if people do this. So do not do this, only save the file once you're in the right repo. So if I'm a part of, I don't know, science, right? I'm only going to save my test folder, my test design, once I'm in the right, let's say structure, because science is not loading. Working on suspension, okay? I can save this now in suspension, test 2 maybe, and you'll see it will have saved in suspension. So I can also move designs locally. So my previous test, I can right click on it and click on move. And then here we'll see the same menu that I've got here, but in a different window. And I can move this design saved in the main repo, which you can see it's up there, to structure, and we said steering, or no, suspension. Structure, suspension, move. So in theory now, I should be able to see in the steering in the suspension system of the structure subsystem, both of my saved designs, okay? I think this is a pretty good overview. I might just add that you can see the web browser-based company workspace by clicking on this button. It will open the teams, the company repo, where you can see every other engineer working on it and the same folders that we've been seeing here in Fusion. All right, well, I think this is a wrap. It's pretty clear for our second video, the file hierarchy. I think you have a good idea of what the file hierarchy is in Fusion, and specifically how we use it in our association to make work as efficient as possible. I think even if you're not part of our association, it's quite helpful to see how a project works together. And if you're an individual, you can probably apply the same fundamentals with probably a smaller tree to create your work easily repeatable and scalable. Thank you for being with me for this video, and I'll see you for the third video, where you'll first learn to move around in Fusion. So no more boring files and such. We'll actually go to Fusion and move around the workspace, see the origin, use the cube and such. See you soon.